Good afternoon, one and all. It's yours truly, Joshua Coley, also known as the Transit Prodigy. And okay, it may not be obvious, but obviously at Keene University Station, which is located in Union, New Jersey, I'm back for another action. Today is a season finale. So this will be season 6, episode 10. And I decided I wanted to end it with both freight and New Jersey Transit because why not? And I have some ideas for season 7 onward, so I'll mention those later on whenever I get a chance, hopefully, if I don't forget. So I'm here in hopes of catching some CSX and X as well as the Raritan Valley action. So it's been dead for some time, but I hope that changes in due time. So without further ado, I'm going to take you to today's feature presentation. So I hope, excuse me. I hope you enjoy everything that I have to offer for today. Oh my goodness. North Jersey coastline number 3818 to New York. Woo! 2608 to Hoboken Terminal. That looks like Q192. Good afternoon. It's yours truly once more. And honestly, I did not plan on making it this short until I realized one, I really don't care about the cold weather considering it's between like 24 and 35 degrees outside, mostly in the 20s though. I don't mind that. I just mind the fact that my fingertips are freezing, so I'm like, I'm really not in the mood to wait for any more freights and New Jersey transits, to be honest. So I'm like, I'll just head home. And this discussion, since it's season 6, episode 10, the season finale, I figured I also make this into, a discussion. So I have a few topics that I want to cover. And what else was I going to say? Yes, a few topics that I wanted to cover, as well as, well, mainly as to what I have in mind from seasons 7 onward and the improvements I'm going to make starting season 7 onwards and what to expect in future films. So, with that being said, I'm about to answer some questions, which is about to be followed by, how can I how can I say this? Each segment is going to be broken as to the questions I think people would ask me or questions I would ask myself as to what I'm about to do next. So, with that being said, stay prepared. Well, not really stay prepared, but I'm about to ask myself the first question. So, here it is. As some of you recall, I did say that I would be inactive until like it gets warmer or whatever. And after today's video, I plan on doing just that. So, to answer the question, how long will I be in quotation marks inactive for? I'll probably be inactive until the first day of spring or whenever the temperature decides to rise up, though I will make a few exceptions along the ways. Um, Recently, I was told that the circus train was going to be rolling by North Elizabeth at lane interlocking, which is, for those who don't know, between Newark Liberty International Airport slash Newark Penn Station and Elizabeth Station via the northern part. So after the circus train, I plan on getting a much needed break because I'm not going to lie, there's going to be days where I want a rail fan, it's too cold, and then there's going to be days where I'm at work if I could land a job, but hopefully I will have a bunch of ideas gathered as to where I want to start off season 7, where I might want to go for season 7, and how to go about season 7, stuff like that. So my inactivity towards my YouTube account, will be a much needed winter break. So starting this year, I do plan on, with the exception of Christmas, New Year's Day, and my birthday, I plan on taking breaks just so I can stay warm, stay whatever. I mean, I have spring, summer, and fall, so one season shouldn't necessarily make a difference, but if it does, I'll do my best just to get out there. But then again, it's me and what I feel is best for me, so I'll admit it would be quite a while, or will be quite a while, but that's just the risk I'm willing to take. So that's exactly that. So it's not the best time for rail fanning, especially the places I have in mind. So I feel like it's best to wait until it's warmer, and I guess I'll find out where I go from there. But there's your answer to how long I'll be inactive for until the first day of spring. As far as the improvements that I'm planning on making, um, first things first, some of you, if you watched my videos, for those who are new, I'll briefly run it through real quick. I did this thing where I was introducing the train stations where the setting would take place as far as my rail fanning goes, and I plan on making sure I am more consistent on that because I noticed I forgot to do. I When I went to Bound Brook that day, I forgot to do Bound Brook. I forgot to do Prospect Avenue and Piscataway, and I forgot to do Dunellen. And this earlier this week, I went to Perth Amboy, and I forgot to take a picture of the train station itself so I could put it in my video. So I want to make sure that as far as improvement goes, I am consistent as to letting you guys know in my own way where the setting would take place. So that's the thing I want to improve on very much. Another thing I plan on improving is what do I want to, oh yes, as I became YouTube wise a bus fanner, I plan on, if I want to do a mixture of both buses and trains, I'm gonna try to get like a good number of buses on there because I know I'm going to film more trains than buses, and I understand from my point of view it's kind of like favoritism in a way, so I don't mean it like that. It's just that, well, I've gone, there's more trains than buses that come in the area or covers the area, but I plan on doing just that. I plan on doing more bus videos. I don't know about solo bus videos because they're not, I can't really share those to any groups because it's more about trains and buses. And to put it simpler, it's not simpler, but I had the right words, but then I lost it again. I sincerely apologize, but I eventually do plan on doing a mixture of the two. I gotta figure out how, when, and I want to make sure, say if I go out of state, I want to have the information on the buses before I just put it up there. As a prior example would be the buses near Gaithersburg and what was that part of Connecticut? That last station for the metro. I forgot, but I sincerely apologize. It was back on my birthday on January 8th, but I want to make sure I have the information on that state's transit system and how it works before I just go there trying to be, I don't want to call myself Mr. Big Shot because I know I'm not, but I want to be filled with information. That's pretty much what I'm trying to get at. So I just want to be prepared, ready, well informed before I just do whatever. This applies to buses too, so should I have the days where I do as much bus fanning as I do rail fanning? I'm gonna try and make sure that it's a perfect blend of the two. And I'm sorry if I sound redundant, but that's another improvement I plan on making. My third improvement is more so on my financial stability, so I could go further down south. I've seen plenty of YouTubers go near Plant City, Orlando, parts in between stations where I could catch some great action on 91, 92, 97, 98, or shall I just say the Silver Service, as well as CSX, excuse me, and other forms of freight train. I plan on doing just that. So, more travel time, but I have to make sure everything is taken care of first, more so my expenses, my phone bill, my bus pass for the month, should I get one, and everything else. So, I plan on making those improvements, and I really do want to travel. I really want to give you the best adventure that I have to offer. So I'm just not in New Jersey all day, but there's points in New Jersey I have not touched yet. So yeah. So with that being said, those would be the main three areas of improvements I look to correcting in myself or making among myself. So with that being said, I think that's really it. And if I think of ways of improvements, I'll just apply it to my videos instead of chatting about it and then end up forgetting about it. So the introduction of the train stations, the perfect balance of bus and rail fanning, and the travel time. So those are my main three, and everything else will just fall into place in due time. So if that answers your question, I'm glad. If not, well, I don't really know what to tell you. So on to the next question, please. Okay, as to my next question, as to whether I like freight trains or passenger trains more, to be honest, always been a passenger train person because every time I go to a train station, that's really what I look forward to. I mean, every time I go to a railroad crossing, I would hope I see one. Chances was not always the greatest, but it wasn't the lowest. So it was always somewhere in the middle, depending on the time of day. I mean, back when I was a child, um, it was really Conrail that was running. So every time I seen the trains, there was always those big blue engines. So now that Conrail's pretty much, as far as model wise, are out of service, but the lines I left by is a Conrail shared asset. So growing up as a kid, I always looked forward to seeing those things, but I'm more of a passenger train person because it's more exhilarating, it's more exciting, especially during rush hour. Though I'll give freight trainers credit, it does its thing too. I mean, time lapse quality when I record, I'll admit, is very great. And one of my longest films was around 7 to 8 minutes on just one freight train by itself. So it was really good. Loved it. And my longest for passenger trains because they kept coming back to back and stuff like that. It was like around 10 to 12 minutes. So I love freight trains, but passenger trains are my ultimate favorite. Mainly because It's mostly because the part I grew up at. I grew up on the Northeast. I was born and raised in the Northeast. Um, Over in this part of the U.S., we're the busiest in the morning and in the afternoon slash evenings. We're the busiest rail line altogether. So it's more so when I see trains during rush hour and stuff like that, especially as express. It's really exhilarating. And before I started traveling more, I used to set short-term goals like I'm going to ride the Princeton Junction Express or I'm going to ride the Newark Express, ride the Acela Express. And as you've seen from my videos, I've actually become quite the traveler. I've traveled on Amtrak 20 times, still I can remember only 18. New Jersey Transit numerous times. I've been to Port Jervis. I've been to Hoboken. I've been almost everywhere. I plan on hitting Raritan one day, maybe Highbridge, see what their structures is like. Maybe go fan south of Long Branch. I plan on doing it all. I plan on doing it in due times. But right now, I can at the moment, and that's okay. That's where season 7 and onwards comes into, so I can think of where I'm going to go next. And speaking of where I'm going to go next, I think I sense my next question coming in. So to wrap up this question before I get too much into my travel plans, because it would pretty much be off the topic for the question that's just been provided, passenger trains are number one. Where do I aim to go next? Um, I'm gonna be frank. I don't have any specific ideas as to where I'm going to go next. It can vary depending on my financial stability at that moment. It can vary on what bus could carry me where, the day of the week, the time I get off work. If I go to work, excuse me, it can vary in many different ways. New Jersey Transit speaking and Coach USA speaking. Um, I don't plan on doing Amtrak anytime soon, despite the fact that it's tax season, which I don't really plan on honestly using that for my travel purposes, to be honest. As I mentioned before, I want to take care of my important stuff first before I just waste money on doing things I could do later. So, I'm not going to get too descriptive about that, but I do have several places in mind, and I did tell one of my friends, Brian Freeman, if you recall from my Washington, D.C., Maryland area action fanning. If you recall that from my birthday, I did tell him that I would be back in the Washington, D.C. areas when it's warmer, so I could get another shot of rail fanning the Amtrak action over there as well as Gaithersburg. And I did tell him I'd try to stay longer because I was on limited time that time to like 4.5, 5, close to 6 hours. At least 6 hours because I got there around 12, close to 1, and then I had to leave at 6:15 that night, so by bolt. So it was a drag, but I managed to get the action I needed. I managed to complete the Northeast Corridor Sleepers themed project that I had for like a few months then. So I plan on doing Washington, D.C. I plan on doing, should I take a vacation? I plan on doing Plant City in Florida. I plan on doing Chicago, Illinois. Um, Detroit, Michigan, mm, the Carolinas, Tennessee. I plan on traveling all over the U.S. just a rail fan. I do plan on doing Niagara Falls eventually. Now that I got my passport, I had it for like 2 weeks now, not even. I plan on crossing the borders, catching via rail, and the freight trains that roam Canada. So, heads up in advance if you look in the description section as to the captions to I usually put captions as to what trains came in that exact order and buses too. So if you don't see information on the freight that runs in Canada, it's because I don't have any information on it. So please try not to be discouraged. If you're a Canadian, you're watching that train, watching my video, you happen to see that train, please don't be afraid to comment what train that was running by. That would actually help me in the long run. Or if you just have a list of freight train numbers to and from that roams in Canada, that would also help. So I could provide you a detailed description as to what train goes where. I really, as I like to, as I mentioned earlier, I like to be well informed and prepared so I could give a decent presentation. So to wrap that question up, I don't have anything specific in mind, not yet. So my brain is still trying to think of what to do next, but I'm not really thinking about it right now because I got more important things to think about. The next question was, how will the improvements make my videos better? Well, before I fully answer that question, I just remembered another thing I plan on improving on, and I realized it's the quality. Now, a few seconds ago, I was looking back to one of my videos, and I realized that every now and then, while I was recording the trains or the buses, my phone would like slip down, like what I'm doing right now. That was unintentional, and sometimes I realized I did that because I was looking for other trains, and I think it's because I hold it in one position as to not focusing on whether it's really capturing like what needs to be seen. Like it would look like it's about to like just fall to the ground. So I plan on improving that as well. So I'll add that to number 4 as to the previous question, if I recall correctly. The second question was what improvements will I be making? So that's another thing I want to improve on. I'll admit that a few times or several times that I did that, it caused part of the video to like make it seem like it was unprofessional and lack of quality, and I sincerely apologize about that. I did not intend for that to happen. So, and before the previous season, I did say there was sound quality issues. I think that was the previous phones that I had at that time. I'm not exactly sure, so it has not been happening recently, so I'm pretty much good. And it may not catch every detailed sound like a camcorder would have. I'm not exactly sure how that works, so please don't hold it against me, but I'll plan to improve on the quality, just the overall quality, to make sure everything is good and all. I know I usually when putting the videos together, I stabilize everything so that it won't be as shaky, but there are times where I'm cold when I'm rail fanning, or mainly my fingertips is cold. I'm trying not to be cold, and then it'll cause the camera to be shaky. So whatever shaky is was mostly because I was cold. So as far as the improvements to making my videos better, I believe that as I mentioned earlier, that I would be specific as to taking pictures of the train station I'm at so I could give you a detailed description as to where the setting will take place. And I feel like that by itself gives a great opening to a video as to not exactly well, it is my whereabouts, but it's more like, okay, I want to make it feel like it's a movie. So of course, you gotta have your setting location. So if I forget to say in the introductions before the partial credits roll by, then there's that picture that says, okay, I'm at this stop. That's where the action is. So that also the improvements, as I mentioned earlier, I believe will make my video seem more professional and likely to grab more attention as to watchers, viewers, and hopeful subscribers. That's also what I aim for. And every bit of details I've been doing for the past 6 seasons up to now, I found ways of improving my not just the quality but the presentation itself. So I had the words, I lost it, but I do, as I mentioned to some people, I do aim to please, but I know not everything happens overnight. So, as I usually say in the videos, just bear with me, and hopefully, after everything gets figured out and all, I'll definitely apply it to my videos, and you'll definitely have not just a better quality, but a more profound videos. So, just keep that in mind, food for thought. I'm still thinking of ways for improvements, and I guess that's all I have to say to that one as I proceed to my next question. Okay, so as far as number six, it's something I would want somebody to ask me. So to give you, I can't even say that it's going to be a brief introduction. So I'll just say it as how it comes out. So as I usually mention at the beginning of the video, my name is Joshua Coley, and where the Transit Prodigy came from as far as the self-given nickname, um, I realized that I had somewhat still untapped potential as far as being capable of learning every detailed bus route in the state of New Jersey by itself, as well as knowing majority of the train routes. And out of everybody in my circle, they just keep hitting me with the why don't you go work for them, you will be good there. And I really do believe them. I just honestly got to stop procrastinating and get to it. So when I call myself the Transit Prodigy, I feel like not being cocky, but at the same time it's like I know where this go, I know where that goes, and I darn sure know where that goes. So with that being said, I feel like out of people that don't work for the transit system itself, including Amtrak, I feel like I'm the smartest person in the state of New Jersey that knows every bus route, every train route as to where they go and such. Though I'm still learning, I'm not saying I'm Mr. Big Shot. I'm not saying I'm a know-it-all. I'm just saying that I'm confident in my intellectual capabilities, and I still have some very much untapped potentials. And I want to know every bus route, where they go, without having to look at the bus schedule or the transit app itself, from bus route 1 to bus route 880. And I know there's some numbers missing in between, so there's not exactly 880 bus routes in the state of New Jersey. There's probably like between 790, maybe 830. I could be less. Don't hold it against me. I'm still learning. I'm still researching from time to time. Speaking of researching, I found out they introduced bus route 555 in South Jersey, which I actually thought they may do one day, but I wasn't sure if it would actually be considered. So I'm pretty happy about that. I also found out 418 merges. Instead of two, now there's one, and they cover both Wellingboro and Camden. So I'm also happy about that. The only sad part is the bus does not venture through Mount Holly like it used to, but that's just a sacrifice for better service, I guess. So my hometown is Elizabeth, New Jersey. Born at Trinitas Hospital, which was, as some of you older folks know, as St. Elizabeth Hospital. So that's where I was born, January 8th, 1992. And if you recall, I just turned 25 a few Sundays ago, almost 3 or 4 to be exact. And as far as why trains fascinate me so much, a lot of people ask me that. It's because I think it was either my mother or my great aunt that introduced me to my very first train ride at 1.5. I became obsessed ever since. Loved them growing up. Always looked out for them. Always wanted to go to the train station. Always hoped to go to the train station to go somewhere. The only time I wasn't looking forward to going to the train station is when I had to go get my hair cut. I ain't gonna lie. That nappy head had to come off when I was younger. But any other time I was looking forward to being at the train station, really happy. Didn't mind it one bit. So, um, let me see. What else can I tell? I was born in Elizabeth, as I mentioned a few minutes ago. I was raised in Edison, New Jersey, though I would transfer between South and North from time to time due to stability issues. I'm not going to get too deep into that. That's just something I don't think that's fitting for what I have to say. So, but I was raised in Edison generally for 13 years. I first moved there from what I was told a week before I turned 1, so I was already running by then. Um, and I spent majority of my adulthood in South Jersey. So for those who thought that who seen my very first video on August 5th, though I didn't have it published until like the 28th or whatever. Um, Prior to me rail fanning, I just moved back up from Maple Shade, New Jersey. So as I mentioned, I spent majority of my adulthood so far in South Jersey. I lived in Burlington, Cinnaminson, and Maple Shade. And I moved up to Elizabeth for better opportunities. I just wanted to be closer to my family, closer to the transit system up here because I felt like well, it's not more that I feel, it's more like everything is closer together. So that's why I moved back up here and I wanted to finish it, my life in general, or just finish my legacy in the city of Elizabeth because I felt like if everything gone the way it was supposed to, I would have grew up in Elizabeth, went to school here, maybe graduated here, stuff like that. But I don't regret my past. I don't regret the stuff that happened because some of the stuff that happened I had. As far as me moving to Edison, I had no control of that. Me moving all over the place, majority of that I had no control over, so I'm not gonna regret something I don't have control over. So that's another thing right there. Um, some of you are probably wondering if I was, because some people really think about it, but they never think about asking. But I am autistic, by the way. I have Asperger's syndrome, so that's another reason my obsession with trains comes in. And yeah, what else? What else? Um, I'm just not your typical average person. I'm what most people would consider a weirdo, and I'm okay with that. I don't really care. I'm happy being me. Nothing can change that. Um, I'm just the kind of guy that likes to have fun, be myself. Um, Try to involve my friends into my life. Just try to find new ways to make myself a better person each day. I mean, I don't really have that much to say about me except a few things that just came up to surface. So sorry for the lack of information. If you want to know more, you can hit me up in the comment section. I don't mind. Ask me what you want. Just don't get too personal. Just don't pry. None of that. That's pretty much all I have to say as far as an introduction, as far as the kind of person that I am. One more thing though, when oh yes, I mentioned that I was a weirdo. I'm also a gamer. I like to play video games. I like to study numbers as far as percentages, fractions, um, converting minutes into my fault hours into minutes, stuff like that. Really nerdy, gentle, sweet personality. What else? I'm different. I'm just different. So that's pretty much all I have to say. So as I mentioned, if you have any questions as far as about me or whatever, just hit up the comment section. Hello. As far as my final question that's been thrown at me as to what's my goal and how's my style going to make it a reality, first I'm going to say that my goal is to be the best rail fanning slash bus fanning adventurer of all time. And my style is going to make it a reality because the way I put my videos together after they're all uploaded onto YouTube and Google Plus, as you noticed, I will put pictures to show what the next segment is as far as the bus route. I mean, not the bus route, the bus and the train that comes into the proximity. I think I could make that a reality, despite the fact that my videos be between 20 to an hour long. And simply put, my style is not to go to the train station, capture like 10, 15, 2-minute clips. I like, excuse me. My definition of an adventure is to take pictures, as many pictures as you can, take as much videos if you're videographing as you can, put it all together, and then like presentation day, just give it. And even though if you was to do that, presentation would be shorter, but I don't. I'm the type to go to a location and say if I paid a lot of money for it, or if I just paid, say, how can I say this? Mostly, I would use my bus pass, which is $100 a month, and it would pretty much be me paying round trip if I was to take the bus or whatever. So I paid a good amount of money. So I'm gonna stay for an environment for a good period of time, record, and as soon as I feel like I had enough, okay, go home or whatever. Or if I take Amtrak somewhere, I paid good amount of money for it. I'm not just gonna go there for a few minutes, capture like few trains, and then just go home. Like that's just not my style. So a lot of people I've dealt with it before mentioned or complained that my videos are too long, and I've said it many times before. I'm not going to change how long my videos are for nobody. Everybody has their own thing, and yes, it's easier to watch a 2, 3, 4, 10 minute clip, but at the same time, it's just not me. Like, I like to put everything together, and that's just me. Like, if I was to catch all this in one day, it's like, why don't I just put them together? Why don't I just make it into one simple movie video like things? So that's just how I do things. How can I say this? It's just I don't like giving people. I'm not saying everybody else's is, but to me, it feels like I'm BSing what I really could be presenting. So that's just why I like to put everything together. So I'll admit the goal that I have set will take some time, but it's okay. I just started in August, so I'm not new to this as I'm like half a year fresh. Let's see, March, April, May, June, July. Yeah, I'm half a year fresh, so but I can still look for ways to improve. So I'll leave the question just like that as it is with the answers I've provided. So also, speaking of improvements, to get back to that, because I did forget to mention something earlier, the birthday shout outs. So every now and then, if I happen to rail fan a few days after my friend's birthday or on their birthday, I will give more birthday shout outs no matter how late it is or whatever. So if you're watching a video and you say that your birthday is coming up soon, Um, actually, just put in the comment section when your birthday is. If I happen to be putting new videos up close to your birthdays or whatever, so I could give you a shout out in the next one. Though I would need a binder and some paper, but I got plenty of that. So that's if you want to. You don't really have to, but I know a lot of people will be watching it. So if it happens to be your birthday, happy birthday to you. And as I said, I'll do my best to give my birthday shout outs no matter how late it is and stuff like that. So, with that being said, speaking of birthdays, I'm a I'm days behind, not even, but I'm going to say happy belated birthday to my best friend Kathleen Arneth. If I said your last name wrong, please forgive me. Um, Arnath, or however it's pronounced. I sincerely apologize. I want to say happy birthday. And that's really it for season 6, episode 10. As I mentioned earlier, if you I'm not sure I did, but if you do, if you have any questions, just put them in the comment section, or if you know me, just text my phone or message me on Facebook. So with that being said, I'm done. So the next time I Ralph him will be possibly in a few weeks. If not a few weeks, then most likely in the springtime. So take care for now, and I get back to y'all as soon as I can.
before 4:14 p.m. eastbound train to Hoboken, stopping at Hoboken. Please